great adventure awaits you.
And it's immediately gone wrong. Hold on. Nope, that's not it either. Well, that's just what's happened here. I'll just reframe that. There we go. Hello, everybody. How's it going? Welcome back to One Woman Table. I am your dreaded DM, or Dread, or Caitlin, whatever you prefer. It's been a hot minute. A lot of things have been going on in my life that have just prevented me from streaming efficiently. But as I've said at least once before, I am very consistently inconsistent. But I wanted to take it down a notch this time around because I really wanted to stream, but I didn't want to have the worry of learning a new system for this week after I've had such a hectic one, or two actually. Nothing to worry about. Like it's just been one of like it's just been a time essentially. Without getting too much into it, but I wanted to do something a little bit more chill, so I took to my Discord and my Instagram to ask a couple of questions and see who responded. I actually also I have another surprise up my sleeve for maybe later on in the stream. Because just when I last looked, there weren't a lot of questions. I only have a few followers across all of my platforms, so not necessarily the largest list of questions ever, but we've got a few. So I'm going to answer those questions and see how we go from there, really. Hey, Snee, you did give me a few questions. I'm actually going to start off with the lowball question that you gave me. And guys, anyone who is here right now, more than welcome to post questions into chat. In fact, I would heavily encourage you to do so. I just need to find my document. You'd think I'd have all this ready in time, but absolutely not. That is not my vibe. I would never have things ready in a reasonable amount of time. Let's see. Oh, that's actually a good bit of news, guys. I have a Discord now. So if you want to catch up on all the hot goss and potentially chat with me, I've chatted with plenty of you already on there. But it's a good time. We have a funny little chats. Thank you. Yes, it is pure professionalism on my part. But me and Snee got into a sort of rap battle on the Discord there. That was fun. Yeah, it has been a minute since I've streamed. I'm saying a lot again. I actually stopped for a while. First question. What is my favorite color? My favorite color, the simple answer is kind of is a sea green. I know some people who watch me on Twitch, they aren't necessarily Irish. And even if you are Irish, there's no reason you would know this place. But there is a beach in Donegal called Rosnowla Beach. Me and my family used to go there, and we still do occasionally. We used to go there quite a lot. It's one of my favorite places in the world, and there is sometimes when we go up there, the ocean there turns into this very particular shade of green that I very much associate with that beach. I don't often see it in other parts of the world. Um, I've been to a few, but for some reason, the only time I ever really encounter this particular shade of green is at this particular beach, and even then, quite rarely. So, yeah, to make a short answer very long and overcomplicated, sea green, particularly sea green from a beach called Rosnella Beach. I used to go to Donegal a lot with my mate and his family. Ah, that's nice. Yeah, a lot of I ended up going with quite a few people in my life. Um, I've gone with my husband. That was a big deal for me taking him there. It was actually a really crappy day when we went up there. It was like rainy and dull, and I still I had nailed down that I was gonna go surfing. I can't surf, but I decided this was the day. No matter what the weather, I was going to surf. And I did badly. Um I've gone up there for many's a celebration with like friends of my family, and yeah, it's just very much a close place in my heart. Uh Bundoran is very famously so. Bundoran is a good spot for surfing. For anyone who is not Irish, um, one of the few reasons people know Ireland is because, very surprisingly, there's a lot of places in Ireland, including Bundoran and another place in Mayo called Achill, extremely famous for surfing. Freezing cold, but good surfing, as I can attest to. Yeah, do you know what? I think this is going to be a bit controversial for this, but I find Bundoran like a little overrated just because, it's the. I feel like I've made enemies, but and I have had a lot of fun in that general area, but not Donegal, Bundoran itself as a place, it's it's so difficult to go there during like like the height of like tourist season, you know what I mean? It's just packed out. Um and I personally don't like dealing with those types of crowds and that type of thing. It's really difficult for me. Um that's why one of the reasons why I love Rosnalla Beach, because between like Rosnalla can get quite busy as well, but it's a bigger beach, and Rosnalla would be the quieter beach of the two. Um, I've never heard the hype. No, it is. It's a top spot. Like I used to. Fun fact about me: I used to work in the outdoor industry. I used to when you go to an adventure center and there's like this overly enthusiastic person there who's telling you to how to paddle a canoe and not jump out because they're not going to save you. You've just thrown yourself off a boat. That was me. I did that for a few years, and a lot of my work friends and colleagues, they were very into their surfing and and a lot of them would like in the past they would take like trips away to like all these different spots in Ireland and around the world to go surfing. So that's how I know. I'm not a huge surfer. I'd love to be. That would be the dream, to be a surfer bum. But they were, and they had a great time at it. The outdoor safety liaison, absolutely not. I resent that title. I would never make sure a child was safe. That's a lie. That's a joke. The children were always safe. No, the official term for what my job was slash it is, because it still exists. I just don't work in that industry anymore. They're called outdoor instructors or outdoor activity instructors. Sometimes they're called adventure leaders. Yeah, there's a lot of different names for them. But the one that I would have used the most and the one I would put on my CV was outdoor instructor or outdoor activity instructor. I put D&D down as running and participating. You know, it's very funny. Like, my parents were very much the type of like, whatever experience you have, put it down on your CV. Put it down on your CV because you never know when it'll come in handy. But I never thought to put D&D down, especially because I actually only got into D&D during the pandemic, so 3 years ago now, which is crazy to say. I only got into it 3 years ago. So, and I was still kind of sort of working as outdoor instructors during that time. I was still in the industry. It would have felt weird to put that on my CV. I know of actually a couple of places where it would have fit very nicely as but as something I would put down as a job, nah, not really. 5 years. So you actually, no, I won't reveal that information because that is not my information to reveal. But let's move on to a different question before I say something that's not good. And I've just remembered. Hold on. Stop everything. I've just remembered that I've got some bloody music. I actually took the time. That is not what I wanted to do. I bit the bullet and I finally, like, made the decision to go to, like, to get, like, I have Spotify and all that type of thing, but I get very nervous about the types of music and media that I put on online because I used to I did work. I was a film person. I used to work in film and I learned a lot about copyright and copyright law and all that type of thing, and it makes me extremely nervous whenever I whenever I have music. Yeah, no. I only got one. So far. I haven't checked in the last few minutes whether I've gotten new ones in the time. I had one when I last looked, so I'm going to take a look now. Before. That's very loud. Just going to make sure. Peeps who are around, can you all hear the music? It looks like it's quite loud, so I'm going to bring that down. Let's see. There we go. Yeah, like I found a bunch of this really cool royalty-free music that's like I've actually kind of started to listen to it while I work, and it's nice. It's nice. Yeah, let's check the old Insta. Okay. So there doesn't appear to be any other songs in there at the moment. But I will answer the one that I got yesterday, which was from Tales from the Crypt. Thanks, Tales from the Crypt. And the question was, will I ever have guests on the stream? And the answer is yes. I have no solid plans at the moment for I have no solid plans at the moment for having guests on. I've had a couple of ideas for more TTRPG stuff that I could do, because I have a couple of other things in the works. I'm working a lot with Advanced Dungeons Intermediate Dragons, so that kind of puts a leash on how much I can stream on here, just because I don't want to overwhelm myself. And then also I'm working on videos for the main channel, which I promise they do exist. I've been working really hard on it. I've been putting way too much work in it. I've been really like fussing over the nitty-gritty of every single edit that I make. But with that being said, I am so proud of what I have done with my edit so far. We're on the home stretch, but I haven't finished yet. Thanks, Nick. Appreciate that. And in terms of has your message, I haven't seen any. Like, I'm just looking through. Hold on a second. I'll grab my phone, because it might be on my phone. I'm on my computer right now, and sometimes these things don't show up on the computer. I don't know why, but one second. Alright, let's see. Like, my Instagram is so weird. Sometimes it just doesn't pick stuff up, and I don't know why. I need to be more entertaining. Oh, Lord. Hush. Here we go. Who's your favorite Irish TTRPG space mod, and why is it Snee? A twofold question, and both solid questions. I don't know. I gotta say, Prim's my gal, you know. No, to be fair, honestly, all of the everybody on the Irish TTRPG server are absolute G's, you know what I'm saying? Like, they're just some of the most welcoming and nicest people that I have come across in this space, and not because I've come across bad people in the community. More, okay, good, it's still working. More because this is the first time I've been a part of a true community like this. And like everyone there is just so welcoming and so and just so ready to play D&D or like whatever. God damn it. uh, Whatever, you know? Like I've ran a game and I've played a game on the server so far. And both times, so much fun. So much fun. My only gripe was with the game that I ran, and it went on for too long because I forgot to set my timer. That seems right. Yeah, Becca has fully kind of adopted me as well, though I am like 99% sure. Well, 99 is strong. I'm 80, I am like 75 to 90% sure that I am older than Becca. Like, and I'm not just, I've never, like I've, wait, no. No, I don't think I did meet Becca at Comic Con. I think it was just, I'm gonna get like like so brought down to earth so quick. Cause like, no, you did meet Becca. No, I'm pretty sure it was just you. No, I didn't meet Becca then. Um, because I was only there Saturday. Whatever day the boys were doing their live show in Comic Con. I can't quite remember which day it was. Yeah, then it was Prim that I did meet. Speaking of, I'll go back to the Discord real quick to answer another one of your questions. Let's see. Favorite TTRPG system? That's a tough one. Because, well, there's an easy answer and then there's but there's so many systems. My favorite TTRPG system, like even though it's slightly controversial these days because of a certain company, it is Dungeons and Dragons. Like it's what started me on this path, and it's the system I'm most comfortable with. It's the system that I'm most comfortable DMing with. Like I'll DM it. Like if I know the rules, I'll DM anything once. But the one that I have the most experience in, and I would consider my bread and butter, and I always go back to, is Dungeons and Dragons. Having said that, I am a big fan of Call of Cthulhu. I have ran a few games of it now and haven't played yet. And if anyone wants to run a game of Call of Cthulhu and invite me, that would be great because I've ran a few games I've never played. The Curse of the Forever DM. And the TTRPG that I have the system for. In fact, I'm going to grab it because I want to go off on it for a little second in a good way. So, this system right here is Blades in the Dark. It is written by John Harper, and there's a lot of supplemental stuff written by his name is here. This man, Sean Nittner. And I have to say, the lore of this goddamn game is fantastic. Like, this is like, I read the core books of all the TTRPGs that I have, right? Or that I'm interested in. Because why wouldn't you? But this is the only one I read most of in one sitting. Like, it, like, just look at this guy. Just look at this guy. You can't see it because he too dark. But this is the face of a man that you want to follow and say, "Tell me your secrets, sir." But the lore in this is fantastic. Fantastic? Dear God, fantastic. And the system itself is beautiful. I've been getting into systems that are dissimilar to Dungeons and Dragons, because especially with the whole OGL stuff and with all the other stuff that came out recently, there's just been a lot of stuff with Sorcerers of the Shoreline. Those who know. There's just been a lot of stuff with them, and it's getting, even though I love all that stuff, it's getting harder and harder to justify buying those books, even though I love them so. And like, if there was a way, like, I really want to get like stuff from Cobalt Press and from other like third-party D&D creators, because I feel I feel better about that than I do than buying from sorcerers. But it's very much, but I also like a lot of stuff from them. That's the problem. Like, it's that kind of argument a lot of people have when, say, somebody has been J.K. Rowling. J.K. Rowling is a great example of it. J.K. Rowling has been cancelled for a long time, but Harry Potter is one of the biggest franchises in the world. People still buy Harry Potter fucking scarves and wands, and people still go visit the attractions of Diagon Alley and Hogsmeade, and like, all wait, is I don't think Hogsmeade is one of the attractions, but people still are very much engaging with Harry Potter, but away from J.K. Rowling. Like, the thing has become separate from its creator. And one of the yeah, do you know what? I'm gonna say it. If I get cancelled, go ahead and cancel me. I have a grand total of 40 followers. Thank you, by the way. Really appreciate that. It's still crazy to me that anyone would follow. So thank you. But I'm small potatoes. There are many other people more deserving to be silenced than me. But I find it very difficult to, and I one of the things I noticed about the fallout from all of the controversies of Sorcerers of the Shoreline is that there is a lot of guilt. There's, like, in some parts of the community, not all of it, obviously not all of it, but in some parts of the community there are people who are like, we can never support Wizards of the Coast again. We can never buy another book, and you can never ever play Dungeons and Dragons again. If you do, you're just as bad as them, and all sorts of similar rhetoric. And while I understand the sentiment, like, I have my own, I just said, I do feel guilty about buying stuff from Wizards of the Coast. I feel I don't, even though there's a lot of stuff that I wanted to buy before everything kicked off, I feel less inclined to do so now. But I really don't like how how there are some people online in the community who decided that they wanted to throw the baby out with the bathwater, as they say. They wanted to make people feel bad about playing a game some people have been playing for like 30 years. You know? Like, there's a reason people play for 30 years. They like the thing. How do I feel about GameStop closing all locations in Ireland? Sad. It is sad. I would. It kind of the same way as I felt when Game closed down all of their sites. It's sad, but it's not. But I don't play enough video games for it to like directly affect me. Though I do feel for people who find it who hold it close to their heart. But I always like had heard stories of like weird stories of GameStop of like people being of employees or maybe just employees being quite rude, but that's just from my own limited experience, and I learned this experience online, which, and you know, you can find anything online and it might not be true. Fun fact, when Gary Gygax created D&D, his wife thought he was cheating since he was out late constantly. I get it. Like, if my husband wasn't playing D&D with me, he would probably think that too. But he's right there with me and playing with me. But yeah, like it's it's a whole mixed bag of worms. It's not something that I would be able to solve or answer any questions on. I just have my own opinion and what I see, and I think it's absolutely horrible how people are naming themselves. It's gatekeeping essentially, but it's like opposite. It's like they kicked themselves out, and now that they are out, they refuse to let anybody go back in. Like it's a weird form of gatekeeping, and I just want to play my D&D, man. I just want to play my D&D, and like because of the OGL stuff, I started getting into other systems, and that's great. Like I'm having a ball discovering all the systems that I have. I didn't know I'm house sitting, so I'm not able to leave at the moment. So unfortunately, no, I won't be able to go to the show. It is a bummer. Next question. I already answered that one. Favorite enemy for player encounters. So I'm going to answer this from both perspectives. The monster. Thanks. I'm going to answer from the perspective of a DM, like the monsters I like to use the most. And I'm going to answer in terms as a player, like, so what monsters that I like to encounter. I'm trying to think of my favorite one, because there's a lot of monsters that I haven't used. And I'll answer first as a DM. There's a lot of monsters that I haven't used that I would love to. Like, I fucking love to have a dragon turtle. I would kill to be able to put a just plop a dragon turtle in at a random point in my campaign and have my players be like, is this dragon turtle important? And I'm like, no, I just like him. He's just a good boy, and this good boy's gonna kill you now. That's 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 all I want. But my favorite oh my favorite one that I've ever used was the what's it called? What was it called? False Hydra. Yes, that one was crazy. Um, there wasn't. I can't remember if there was a step. It's like a homebrew monster. It's not official. My husband found it and he gave it to me and he was like, "Oh, you could do something with this," and I was like, "Yes, yes, I can," and yeah, it was my players. Some of my players found it to be one of the more scarier one shots that I ran. I ran it as part of like a non-canon uh non-canon one shot of my current campaign. So three of my regular players and then three newer players. I believe one of them hadn't played before and two of them were regular players in other things. And yeah, the wild card was my husband because my husband is my regular player. He's the one of the people that I play with the most often. He was the one who sent me this false Hydra, and as soon as he heard like me describing it, he was like, "Ah, oh, you dick." But he didn't realize it for a while. Well, I really want to run a one shot again on the server because I really want to try Blades in the Dark because I've read the whole thing in one sitting and I reread it again to make sure I understood. So I'm down. Um like I might want run one in my Discord server. So if anyone hasn't joined my Discord server, please join it and you may experience a one shot with me. With me. And I'll mess up badly because I have no concept of time. But yeah, I'm more than happy to run a one shot. Details soonish. I'll gauge what the level of interest would be within the server and within my own server, and then see what the story is with the Irish TTRPG one, because I believe there's another games night coming up, and a few people expressed interest in doing a Blades in the Dark one shot when I suggested it. The problem with that is because I'm not comfortable with the system yet, it would only be a maximum of 4 players, both on my server and in the TTRPG one. That's just the way it has to be. I will cry if I try to do too much. And nobody wants to see me ugly cry. I get so red, it is so gross. Oh, I forgot to answer as a player. My favorite, I can't think what my favorite encounter ever was. Ah, a friend of mine, so a few friends of mine and me, not accidentally, this was very intentional. We we've started doing this thing that we call like a fest type thing, where we set aside a weekend and or like a long weekend, and we just play D&D all weekend, just like a bunch of one shots. Oh no, we're good. My camera made a weird noise and it made me afraid. um Anyways, uh we play a bunch of one shots throughout the weekend, and the forever DMs get first pick of whatever one shots are available, and I am one of the forever DMs. So the last time we did this event, oh my god, it was so great. I got to play like 3 games and of course run a game myself, which is like what I've discovered is my favorite thing to do. And in one of these games, I was playing an Aarakocra Bardlock. Um, and she had a very nice cape. She was very cool. She was a con woman. And the big bad that we were fighting, it was a really cool monster, but I can't quite remember what it was like. It was like an aquatic type of monster, because we were fighting it in the sewers, and we all almost died. Like it was like 2 of the players died full death, and it was actually the first time I'd ever experienced like a player death. And like and it was like I was like, because I was still in being Armanda, that was her name, Armanda Duck. So imaginative. um it Armanda was like beside herself. But we managed to kill the thing anyway. But that was one of my favorite combat encounters anyway. Yeah. And I've just seen a question from Snee on the chat. What was the name of my very first character? I'll never forget her. The name of my very first character was Valkyrie Greenheart. I actually have a picture of her here somewhere. Actually, no. I'll just show you, because I was gonna say, like, it's also my Discord server picture, because I'm too lazy to change it. But I'll see if I can find it. No. Oh, here we go. Because I try to get pictures of all of my characters if I can. But sometimes it's just not possible. Okay, I'll switch me screen. Ooh. Fully forgot about music. Why is the screen all messed up? Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. But my OBS decided to just completely mess up the overlay, even though I fixed it like literally before I came on, because I was like, oh, I might hop on here. But, you know, whatever. And it's not even showing the current screen. OBS, please just do the thing. Just do the thing just once. That would be absolutely fantastic. I'm just gonna turn it off and on again. There we go. It's a very Fermanagh thing to say, but now we're shucking diesel. There we go. That is my the character portrait of my first character, Valkyrie Greenheart. She was a half elf. She started out as half elf ranger, and then became a she eventually became a Order of Lycan blood hunter, werewolf essentially, and that was fun. And the campaign ended for a number of reasons, but a lot of it had to do with I wasn't bored with the character, but she was getting too needlessly complicated for being my first character. Like, anyone who's played the Blood Hunter class knows it's difficult at the best of times. And then the DM added like a bunch of a bunch of mechanics for like the werewolf form that was very like just very complicated for somebody who is just starting out, you know. But yeah, that was my first character, Valkyrie Greenheart, also called Val for short. She does have a very special place in my heart, but I learned something very important when I stopped playing her, or while I was playing her. My first character was Lonklear Bronston, a dwarven barbarian that has never raged. Did you rage in combat? But rage is all the rage. Why wouldn't you rage? Did your character eventually rage? I'm so intrigued by this concept. DM never. See, that's an issue. Like, no shade to your DMing. Like, DM is hard. DMing is hard regardless. I love it. It's so much fun, but it is hard. But it's very strange that, like, that's like the number one thing about being a barbarian. It's literally you rage. That's very strange to me. Oh, I did not mean to restart the music, but yeah, like, I'm pretty sure barbarian is, yeah, that's like the number one thing about it is the rage. Anywho, I'm just checking for any other responses before I move on to the final question. And there does not appear to be. Sad. That's okay though. Oh, we got a first time chatter in the house. PCM, how are ya? Thanks for showing up. Really appreciate you being here. My name is the Dreaded DM, or Dread, or Caitlin, all of the above. Usually I play solo TTRPGs on here, but I'm having a chill night and just answering some questions, playing some music, and just going off on rants. Really, that's the vibe tonight. Ah, nice. What session you playing? Got what TTRPGs or is it a TTRPG? I'll wait. I'll quickly. Oh, 5e, nice. Listen, 5e's the bread and butter. I love 5e. Let's see. was hoping to save this one for the end, but this means we can do my surprise for everyone as well. So, the final question, because I wanted to try to stick as much to viewer-submitted questions as possible. What would I have liked to have been told when I started DMing? 3 things. 1, just because somebody rolls a natural 20 does not mean that they are immediately allowed to do whatever they want. That's the first thing I wish somebody had told me. Number 2. You, as a DM, you are not trying to traumatize the players. You are trying to traumatize their characters, and vice versa. A simpler way of putting it is, actually no, that's 3. So that's 2. 3 is, you're there to have fun too. So, I'll explain the first one. I think I've already told this story on stream, but it's my favorite story of, like, just a huge misstep. So, it was my very first session of my campaign that is now 3 years old. My campaign is a toddler now. But, so at the beginning there were only 3 players. It was my husband, one of my best friends, and my cousin. And, so I'm gonna call them by their character classes. So my husband was and is. Yes, I'm on Facebook. I'm an old lady. Snee. Jeez. My husband's playing a bard. I'll explain in a little second. My husband's playing a bard. My friend's playing a rogue, and my cousin is playing a cleric. They had all just narrowly escaped death, as particularly the bard. He went down like 2 to 3 times, and they went back to their home base. And this was a published adventure. It's called Dragon of Icespire Peak. If anyone's interested, it's a very good published adventure. If you still want to support Wizards of the Coast, whatever you want to do, whatever. Anyways, so they got back, and there's the whole centerpiece of this adventure is that there's a dragon, and the dragon there's a mechanic in there that allows the dragon to appear randomly, and I just happened to roll, and it rolled that it was in the character's home base, and it was starting to attack the villagers. And the players, obviously, they began to engage, and I was like, oh, they're so squishy, what am I gonna do? They've all almost died, and they're level 1. That I don't know, like, there was also a built-in mechanic that would, like, make the dragon leave after, if they did manage to get a few hits on it. And, cleric turned to me and said, Dread, I have a thing here that's called animal handling. And I said, yes, that's a skill that you have. And he said, oh, it's ticked. What does that mean? It's like, oh, it means you have proficiency, and it means that you're good at it, essentially. And he said, oh, okay. Is there any way that I could use my animal handling to fashion basically a dog whistle and blow it at the dragon and cause the dragon to, fly away? Because if you know, like, dog whistles, they make this high-pitched noise, and dogs find it incredibly annoying. And I was baby DM. I had read the rules, but I'd also, most of my D&D education had come from either playing in a different campaign and not another D&D podcast. Not bad sources, but also I probably should have read a bit more of the PHB. But I knew he had to roll for it, so I said, okay, go ahead and roll. He did, and he rolled a nat 20. Now, in my head, at the time, and still to a certain, I still have this rule, like, but I'm much more, I'm not crazy now. So in my mind, I was like, oh my god, he just rolled a nat 20. So that means he fashions a dog whistle and the dragon will just leave. That's stupid. But it was a nat 20, and in my eyes, I had to allow this. So I allowed it. And the players had a ball. Like, they thought it was amazing. Like, oh my god, we just whistled at a dragon and it went away. That's fantastic. And while it was great for them, I would never do that again. So that's what I mean when I say a nat 20 doesn't always have to mean that whatever they say succeeds. You can monkey's paw it. Like, literally, that's what I thought PCM. That nat 20s meant control of reality. That is not what a nat 20 is. You are still bound by the confines of reality. Yeah. So that's the first thing I wish I had been told. Nat 20s are not wish spells. They do not warp reality. The second thing. The DM is not there to traumatize players. They are there to traumatize characters. Now, this is something that I had to, just like everything with DMing, it's something I had to learn the difference between. So, what I mean is, you are not creating encounters or stories that would upset the players, per se. You're creating these stories to and again, upsetting is the wrong word, because you don't want your characters to be sad all the time. Sorry, didn't mean to blow it out there. You don't want your characters to be sad all the time, but you also, they're there to have adventures and for the drama to happen and, all that type of stuff. That does not necessarily mean that the players want that in themselves. So, for example, I'm going to reveal a weakness of mine. I have a phobia of contortion. I have had it for a very long time. I just find it creepy and gross, and I hate it. I hated it so much that when I was working as an instructor and a kid decided to do one of those disgusting back bends, like I think it's called a bridge, one of the kids decided to do that in front of me, I went, oh, no, and had to turn away. And luckily there was another instructor there who was like, oh, yeah, no, sorry about that. She has like a genuine phobia of contortion. They are weird. They are demons. And I think part of it is literally like, those horror movies where people just start fucking breaking their body and gross. I hate it. I hate it deeply. It's bad and I hate it. Let's stop talking about it. But I brought it up. I did this to myself. But yeah, I don't like them. And what I would ask, do I like pickles? No, I don't like pickles. I would be upset if a DM brought that into a campaign without at least informing me that there was some sort of contortion involved. Now, if my character had a fear of contortion and I didn't have a fear of contortion, that could probably be fine. But you should not put contortionists into a encounter or scenario because you know that is something that I can't handle. It has nothing to do with the character that I'm playing. You want to upset me personally, and that's not okay. That's so being mindful of the things that you're. No. I'm sorry. I feel like I'm going too hard on it, on the point. It's more like you'll know what you're. Hopefully, it'll take time, but hopefully you'll figure out what makes a character tick, and you can construct a scenario that might upset the character, but it won't necessarily upset the player. And it's just about, you want to make them cry in character. You don't want them to feel bad in real life. And that's why it's always, and that's kind of like a twofold section of this, is like always check in with your players and just make sure that they're check in with your players and make sure that they're okay. But it is also not your responsibility to like nurse them back to health, if that makes I'm not a professional, but yeah, just check in with your players every once in a while just to make sure that you're not upsetting them. You're just upsetting their characters and causing the characters trauma, and you're not causing your players trauma. Just check in with them. That's essentially it, really. And the final point is the DM is also there to have fun. And that kind of connects with my last point. I'm just trying to think of the best way to describe it, because I knew I wanted to say this. Yeah, it's hard. I've experienced players where they get really into character and they don't cry, but they look very upset. And I've literally like stopped games and been like, yo, are you okay? Like, for real? Are you good? And they're like, yeah, I'm just in character. And I'm like, okay, are you though? Yeah, no, that's why it's good to check in. And that's why I will post this in the Discord because I do think it's a very good resource. I have like a big folder of safety tools where that you can use to like if you're in the middle of the game and something triggers a player, they can use a signal of some kind to indicate that they need to step away or they may need to talk to the DM, stuff like that. I will post that into the Discord because it is a very good resource. I didn't make it. It was made by, it says in the folder who it was made by. I can't think who made it off the top of my head, but it's an incredible resource. Highly recommend it. Exactly. That's what you want. You want them to have that kind of separation of fiction and reality. Snee was just saying, I want people to leave my game thinking, holy shit, but as in, damn, that was good writing. That's what you want. And for the most part, that's what I've experienced, but, just, it sounds like you're already doing a good job and it's something that you're aware of. Just keep on top of it. That's great. But all of this stuff shouldn't be at the expense of your fun. So I was talking to a friend of mine who is not a part of the D&D community in any way, shape, or form. And I was describing like the amount of prep that I had put into a session. It was like a big session. Like I had planned for like a lot of mazes and like random encounters and like all like puzzles and like good puzzles, not like puzzles that make you feel stupid. But I was describing all this to a friend and they were like, Dread, like that sounds like a lot of work, and you looked, and as you described it, you looked stressed. Like, are you okay? And I said, yes, this is like, no, this is not stress. This is just like, I'm so excited about it that I sound like I'm about to freak out. That was probably the case. Yeah, like, for me, being a DM, as cheesy as it sounds, is an act of love. It's a labor of love. I spend time making scenarios and I spend time making maps. That's my least favorite part. I fucking hate maps, but sorry. Gotta try not to swear. Yeah, I don't like making maps. But at the same time, I need them. There's a few aspects of being a DM that I don't like, and there are aspects of being a DM that are particularly challenging for me. Time management is a very big one of mine. Anyone who's ever played a session of mine, that is always the number one complaint. I'm just, not to get too weird about it, but well, it's not weird. It's just sometimes it's weird to talk about it. And if you, whatever. I have ADHD. And it's I like, you know, it's like everything, it's a spectrum. But I'm more on the severe side, and and one of the things about ADHD is not quite knowing what time is. Time is an illusion, and I've never experienced it ever, really. There's either too much of it or too little. And unless I take steps beforehand to make sure, yeah, it's called time blindness, but it also could just be blindness. Yes, time blindness is what it's called. And unless I take steps to ensure that I'm staying on track in terms of time, more often than not, I go way over time. And something that was a session that I had planned to last for 3 hours max ends up lasting 4 to 5. And for some people that's not a big deal. For others it's a very big deal, because a lot of people play in the evening and they don't want to be doing they don't want to be up at 2 a.m. playing D&D when they could be, you know, sleeping. Usually how I fix this is like, or how I've at least started to fix it, is by setting timers for myself. So like I'll set a timer for like an hour and a half, and then at the hour and a half mark we'll take a break for a little while, and then I'll set another timer for another hour and a half, and that's how I play it. And I've been finding it works quite well. But yeah, I forget a lot of the time to set the timers, and people get mad. So yeah, and that's a major thing of mine. But that's probably my biggest. Yeah. What's sleep? I've never heard of it. But yeah, like for a few reasons, it's very difficult for me to keep track of time. And sometimes I get very lost in whatever I'm doing. And it's difficult for me to switch gears. That all this is to say that there are a lot of things that can impact your game and impact your enjoyment of it, and that can include like players not necessarily taking the amount of work that you put into into preparing a session, and another part of it, it's very hard. I'm just trying to figure out the best way to phrase it without sounding like a dick. Yeah, so I've learned better, and it's nobody's fault this happened. It was just like it was a mistake on my part. So I had built this boss of an arc, and I was super proud of it because I was doing like a bunch of stuff that I had never done before, and experimenting with different types of multiclassing and spells and like, you know, all that type of good stuff. And I had talked with one of my other players to like betray the rest. It was great. All in all, overall, it was still a great session. But I was afraid of killing my players. Just making something so powerful that I would kill them outright. And I didn't want to do that, and I thought that if I made something like that, it would spoil their fun, because it'd be like too complicated, it would be too hard to kill, or it could cause TPK and they would all be mad at me. Like a whole bunch of doubts and fears came into my mind when I was building this boss. So I nerfed it. I nerfed it because I was afraid that even though I was still trying out like a bunch of cool stuff that I'd never done before, I was almost intentionally not allowing myself to have as much fun as I could building this homebrew boss. And the players, not only did they sense that, they killed him so quickly. They killed him so quick, and not only did they kill this boss so quick, it actually affected one of the other players, because it was somebody from this player's past, and because this boss was killed so quick, they didn't really get the closure that they may have wanted with this character. And for me, as soon as that combat ended, because it was like 3 a.m. at this stage, we were all super tired. I was just like, fucking kill him. We were all super tired, and it wasn't until like a day or so later, when I caught up on some sleep, that I realized I didn't have fun. I didn't have as much fun as I could have had, because I was so afraid of my players not having fun by engaging with a NPC that I had also lovingly built to be destroyed, if I'm being honest. But I wanted to, you gotta have your own fun, and while it shouldn't be like, it's not all about you. It's a team effort, but there's a lot of responsibility and the other word, I was going to say role, but that's not the word I'm looking for. I can't remember it. But a lot of responsibility is put on the DM to be able to provide the world. And that world should be something that the DM can have fun in too. It's not just for them. And there is the lesson of the stream. Fun is the most important mechanic of all. Well done, PCM. We found the goal. We found it. We got there. It's almost the same as the real adventure is the friends we made along the way, which it is. It always is. But yeah, that's my 2 cents on what I wish I had been told. Make sure you are also having fun as a DM. Traumatize the characters, not the players. And nat 20 are not meant to be world breaking. That's what wish spells and deck of many things are for. Okay. So this might be a terrible mistake, what I'm about to do. But I realized when I was gathering the questions for this campaign, ooh, that's actually a very good point. Before I go into my surprise, PCM has just written in, I traumatized my own characters, I beat my DM to it. Be very careful about traumatizing your own character. Because this is actually something I learned with my first. And it's something you have to learn. It's not really something that you can be told. Because you'll be like, that doesn't happen to me. It does. So, I learned with my first character, like, it was very much unlike me. She was very unlike me in many ways. Like, she was very edgy. She didn't have a loving family. She never knew her mother. Her father was an evil wizard, essentially, who basically who abused her and turned her into a werewolf without her permission or even knowledge. And eventually she accidentally killed somebody and became like the apprentice of a ranger. Like it was a whole thing. But that was fine. I had a great time playing her. But I realized very quickly that there was unwittingly I had put a lot of myself into this character. Like, oh, this character has had an entirely different experience from me. This won't affect me at all. But it turned out there were parallels in the emotion rather than in like the experience. There is a great interview with Brennan Lee Mulligan and Abria Iyengar, two of my favorite DMs of all time. If you haven't watched any of their stuff, what are you still doing here? Get out and go look at their stuff. Fantastic storytellers. And they talked about how in every single character that they have made or their friends have made, unwittingly there's like a piece of themselves in this character. And Brennan Lee Mulligan talked about how a fellow player had pointed out that the character he was playing felt he only had use as No, he only had worth if he was useful. And she was speaking in terms of Brennan's character, but Brennan had not intended that to be a part of his character. He had unwittingly put part of himself into that character. And I have done that too, with Valkyrie. At least it was to a greater degree. So you always put a bit of yourself in a character. Like that's very normal. Be careful with how much you put into it. Yeah, it hit me too. I was like, "What? No, that's what? No, shut up." um but yeah, that is yeah, it's a lot. Like you can't help yourself a lot of the time. And it's every single person's first character has way too much of themselves in it without them realizing it. I've seen it. I've seen it happen so many times. But I digress a bit. It is true. Yeah, it's true. So, I knew I probably wouldn't have enough questions. Or I anticipated that not having enough questions could be a possibility. So, I went I was looking through my old YouTube videos and I found one that is both so good and so bad. I made it was like my first foray into editing and making videos and all that type of thing. Because I wanted to be a YouTuber. I still do. I'm not gonna knock Young Dread's hustle. But I had very different. I didn't know what I was doing, and I was just having fun and simpler times. So I thought it might just be a little fun just to like kind of end this if I fell to the dark side and I did a little bit of a reaction to this video. And honestly, if anyone doesn't want to see it, that's also fine. It is extremely cringy. So, yep. No background music. Okay. Let's make this a little bigger. Oh, I'm gonna be clicking on the wrong one in a second. So, I don't know why am I making this so intentionally difficult for myself? Caitlin does not think things through. Yes. The ghost of Cringemas past is upon us. And I don't know how to lay this out without I'm trying to figure out my life here. Because you need to be able to see the cringe on my face. Let's see here. I'll move over a little bit. There we go. I'm actually looking over here. So, whatever. Okie dokie, artichoke. So, a little bit of context. When I started making videos, when I was around 17, 18 years old. Oh my god, I'm 20. Oh my god, it's like 10 years ago now. That's insane. Hey Cass, jeez. How you doing? You've just in time to see the cringe. This is the worst. So yeah, no, my mic's still working. Excuse me, Snee. I am not old. I'm mature. Anyway, so I started making videos when I was 17 or 18 years old. When I was in my final year of secondary school, and I had aspirations of being the next Daniel's Not on Fire, like Tomska. How dare you, vintage? Wow, getting roasted over here by the young pups. Anyway. Um, yeah, so this is one of my videos from um my from that time. It's called The Internet When the Internet Breaks, and it was my first kind of foray into like sketch comedy, which is good and fine, and I'm not afraid. Gotta make sure that the sound is on. Let's see. Okay, we'll see if you guys can hear this. Yep. Okay, so that video, um, so that title sequence, my dad made that for me because he was and is a video editor, and I didn't know how to transfer video or files. So I just recorded it on my iPad, and that was my title sequence. Oh, this was bad. I'm already. I look like a yeti. I have so much hair.
No internet?
Oh.
What am I gonna do now?
Oh, I need to.
Roly poly! Oh! Ow!
This hurts my soul. This is bad and it hurts my soul. Oh, So yeah, like I said, I'm like 18, 17, 18 in this. And it's so weird for me to see that house cuz it's oh, wow, what a good transition. Do you know what? I'm happy with that little sound effect. um
Bitch.
Oh my god, I swear. Yeah, for sure, for sure.
No.
And I'm going to pause this right here. So I I can't um I thought I would be able to say more words than this, and this is it. But yeah, I for what's really tripping me out is the hair, honestly. Like everything else can be kind of forgiven as somebody like as like a young person who's still learning like the tech like editing techniques and all that type of stuff. That's fine. I don't like it, but that's fine. Um the hair is unacceptable. It is so long and it is so like I don't particularly care about my hair. I never have, clearly. And it's just so long and it's so shaggy and like it's just like the middle part and it's all just bad. Um and that house, that's like the house I grew up in, and mixed emotions seeing that for reasons I won't get into, but honestly, for someone who hasn't done this type of thing before, it's alright.
Yeah. No.
And it looks like it
Yeah.
was filmed on a potato.
No. Oh, yay. No. Yeah.
You can tell I am just pulling all this out of my ass. I'm not even like I remember that. I remember that because I was afraid that if I played music on the headphones that I am wearing, that somehow the camera, which was just an iPad, would pick it up. Um so you can kind of see it whenever I move. There's no tension on that wire at all. It's just it's just a loose wire. It's like and for reasons I just cut back to this scene.
Almost.
Why?
No.
Oh god. Under pictures of my ancestors. My ancestors are upset.
Hey, Missy.
Oh my
Hey,
god.
Caitlin, how are you today?
Not
I can't
good.
even look at
How are
it.
you today?
Oh, fine, thanks. I was just
But I
doing
can
my
hear it.
hair and messing around. You know, the usual stuff.
Really? How exciting for you.
I feel the
You
way
wanna play
she
with
is
me? We
acting
can do our
now.
hair and play with dolls and we have tea parties and...
Ugh! That's it. I can't take it anymore. I have to check the internet.
It's funny, one of you said that I sound young in this. To me, I think I sound exactly the same. Is that weird? That feels weird to me.
Come on, internet. Please, internet. Oh, thank God. Okay.
You can
Okay. Let's.
you can actually hear them in the background. But my family is like having lunch or something in the other room. And I was just like, yeah, this is a good time to make a video.
See. YouTube.
Okay. You can hear a distinct difference. I maybe it's just because I'm hearing myself, but I don't really hear much of a difference. That was a thing that I did. um hmm. Like it's saying here that this was 9 years ago. So does it say what year actually? Oh, it does. July 5th, 2013. God. Dang. That is a time ago. I have to say, like, you know, I was able to pick the ones that I thought were the least cringy, right? All right, Snee. Relax. I'm not old. Just like I'm not small. You guys have never, like, only you have seen me, Snee, and you cannot properly verify how tall I am. I didn't need to reveal that about myself, and I did. But yes, 2013 was a very long time ago, and you can tell that I was just having fun, which is great. Like you can see like whenever like people start YouTube or like Twitch or whatever these days, that they just some of them are doing it for Z clout. And I just look like I'm having fun, which is really nice. And I remember, like, while I hope that my yeah, it's actually truly a decade ago now. The only reason it's 9 years ago is because it's not July yet. um yeah. Listen. It's a trip for me just seeing myself, first of all, with just long hair. Like, I haven't had long hair in about, like, long in that type of way in about at least 5 years now. Um, just because of the type of work I did, it was impractical to have long hair, especially long dreaded hair. It's so heavy when it's wet. But yeah, it's just a bit of a trip to see all that. But I'm actually seeing that I'm getting, it's pretty much time to end this charade. Oh, I shouldn't go in there. Whoops. Um yeah, I was going to show another one, but that one's honestly more cringy than the other one, because at least that one has a little bit of a script to it. The other one was not. But maybe that's something I'll show at another time. Back then, could I imagine being besties with nerds over the internet? No, absolutely not. Um, while the internet, um, I don't really know how to describe the internet. At that, when I was young, it. Oh my god, when I were young. Ugh. Oh my god, I can't believe I just said that. But it is unfortunately true. When I was that age, when I was that young, um the internet was not the same as it is now. Like, and it and part of it was just me. I grew up in a quite a rural, quite kind of sheltered area. Um and I didn't have a lot of friends growing up in general. Not until about that age. That was when I actually started, like, in the least saddest way possible. That was when I started having friends that I actually, like, enjoyed being around. And it wouldn't be until many years later that I discovered D&D. But one of the things I was really afraid of on the internet was, like, talking to strangers on the internet. It was like very much like, don't talk to strangers on the internet, and even more so, don't talk to strangers on the internet, because they could be anyone. They could, like steal all your information and somehow, like, take your dog. If honestly, I would have been fine if the dog, I didn't like the dog we had at the time, so that I would have been fine if a hacker had taken my dog. I wouldn't have known how he done it, but he did. But a lot of the time, and maybe I think part of it was just how I was raised. I don't feel this way anymore. There was a bit of fear. Yeah, definitely. There weren't I knew of these types of pockets of communities, but a lot of the time, from the outside, they looked very they looked toxic, honestly. They looked scary and intense, and I already was I was already so kind of nervous of meeting people and making friends that it didn't feel right. It felt more scary to kind of take that chance. I wish I had taken that chance when I was younger, because, like, the community I have found now on the internet is truly one of the best. That's you guys. But I am so late. So I am going to pretty much end it here. Let's see who we're raiding today. You gotta stick with the old faithfuls, don't you? I'm gonna go ahead and raid Cass. That scoundrel. Oh, I never changed the thing. That's dumb. I should have done that. Raid. Okay, we're raiding bestest bud, Red Robin Cass. Apart from Snee, of course, Red Robin Cass is my Twitch best friend. But thank you so much, everybody, for joining me for this kind of different, more chilled out type of stream. Anybody who just came across my channel now, welcome. I hope you stick around. I'm trying to reach 50 followers because I've heard good things happen. Don't know if it's true or not. But any kind of help, any kind of follow or support would be gratefully appreciated. I am very inconsistent with streaming, so keep that in mind. But all the same, thank you so much for coming over and listening to me rant for nearly 2 hours. Your faces are super nice, super lovely, and I hope you all have a very nice evening and enjoy a nice weekend chillin'. Have a good evening. Let's go raid. Good night.